What's up? I'm back. In this video, I'm going to show you on how to use the GridPane in JavaFX. So the GridPane lays out its children in a dynamic grid of cells arranged in rows and columns. It is called dynamic because the number and size of cells in the grid are determined based on the number of children. The GridPane is one of the most powerful layout panes in JavaFX, but it is also a bit complex to learn. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you the basics of GridPane, how we can create the GridPane, how to add nodes inside the GridPane, and also show you the easiest way to use the GridPane in JavaFX. And let's get started. So the first step I'm going to show you is to create the GridPane. So let's import the GridPane layout to fix this error. So now we have an empty GridPane, and I'm going to create a scene for our stage. And let's pass in the root variable here and declare the scene size. And let's import the scene package. All right. So let's set the scene to our stage. So stage that scene set scene. And let's show the stage. Stage that show. Oh, I forgot one thing. I forgot to set the stage title. Stage that set title understanding GridPane layout. All right. So now we have an empty GridPane, and what I'm going to do next is to create child nodes and add the child nodes to our GridPane. So I'm going to create a button here. And let's name the button as button1 also, and import the button. Make sure you select the JavaFX scene control button to avoid any errors. And I'm going to copy this line of code here and paste it below. And let's change the variable to button 2 and 3. Also these. All right. So to add nodes inside the grid pane, we can do this. We can do something like this. Root that get children that add all. Let's add all nodes inside the grid pane. Button 1, button 2, button 3. All right. And let's try to run our application to see what that look like. And now our application is running, but the result is unexpected because the buttons are overlapping. So to fix this issue, we can do something like this. Let's say grid pane that set constraints. The first parameter is the node. The second one is the column index starting at 0 because the index from the grid pane is starting at index 0. And let's use the first one here. So let's call the button 1 as node, and let's leave this 0 for now, and let's copy this code and paste it below for our buttons. And let's change the variable to button 2, button 3. This is for column and this is for row right here. And let's try changing this to 1 and 2, and let's try running this program. Yes, This is set. This is how the grid pane and this is how the grid pane works in JavaFX. So let's try the row. Right. So there are different ways to add nodes inside the grid pane. So let's try those. So we can add nodes directly at, we can add nodes uh, in the grid pane at the same time. So let's try button one that add, I mean root that add row. So this is for row index and child node. Let's say 0, and this one will be button 1, and copy, paste. And let's change the index to 1 and 2. So yeah, this is the output. The same output, different code. So let's try the column. That's it. That's how you add nodes inside a grid pane. There are one more step to add nodes inside a grid pane. So let's try that one. We will use the for loop. So int column is equals to 0, column that less than 3, and this is for row. And let's create the button here. And let's add the variables column and row here. And let's add the node inside the grid pane. So root that add the node and the column and row. So button and column and row. So let's set the button size. Button that set maximum size, double that max value. All right, and let's try running this program. This is the output. Interesting. So column 0, row 1, row 0, column 1, row 0, column 2, row 0, row 1, column 0, row 1, column 1, row 2, row 1, column 2, and that's it. So let's try adding H gap and V gap to our grid pane. We can do set H gap, let's say 10, root that set V gap and 10. And for example, if you are debugging the grid pane in JavaFX, we can show the grid lines here. Root that set grid lines visible to true and button that set visible to false. Let's see what that looks like. This is it. This is column 1, column 0, column 1, 2, row 0, row 1, and 2. That's it. So let's proceed to the easiest way to use the grid pane in JavaFX. So we will use the scene builder, and let's try adding a grid pane layout here, and let's add nodes inside to our grid pane button, and let's add one more column here. That's how you add columns inside the grid pane. Row. All right, that's it. So if you want to modify something here, we can go here at the properties, grid lines visible, alignment, effects, style sheets, and at the layout, H gap, padding, margin. Uh, that's all. So that's how you use the grid pane easily in JavaFX. So that's all for now, and I hope you learned something new in this tutorial. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I will see you in the next video.